welcome to Beantown 2026. We're here with the incredible Miss Sugar Sullivan and Miss Barbara Billups. Give it up for them! Ambassadors of the Savoy Ballroom, Harvest Moon Ball winners, and performers of Lindy Hop and torchbearers of the culture. All right, are your microphones working okay? Can we get a little tester there?
Test.
Test
it.
Barbara's doesn't seem to be
Tasting,
checking at the moment.
Testing. It ain't. Where's the one?
Not yet.
Testing.
All right, do we have an audio engineer who's over there? He's taking care of it. Keep talking.
Hello. Okay, taste it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they are on. All right. Start from the beginning. How did you come into this life? Where did you come into this life?
That's a good question.
I'm a professional. It's fine.
Well, I was asked that last night, and Barbara told the girl, tomorrow. They were asking us questions at the dance, and every time I would get to a certain point, Barbara said, tomorrow. So today you can ask whatever you want to ask, okay?
I don't know about that.
Don't ask about Barbara's love life. She's very touchy about it.
Please.
You don't want to hear about her 400 husbands, okay?
Please.
Well, I started out at 4. Someone wanted to know when did you start dancing? At 4. I asked her, what kind of dance? Barbara said, so I started at 4, tap dance school, and ballet and singing. I hated ballet. I took it for 3 months. I begged my mama, no, I don't like that stuff. So I stayed with the singing and the tap. And that went on until Lindy Hop came into my eyesight. I saw that at 14. Yes. Okay?
Miss Barbara?
Well, where did I start?
Were you born?
That's right. I never went to school to learn anything concerning dancing. But for what I can understand now, and I can remember when I first started school, if there was a dancing or something there, I have always wanted to be in it. Even when they tell me, it's not your class. I said, but you should be able to do whatever you want in somebody else's class, as long as it's not interfering with the people. So that went on for a while, and then they finally said, when it's time for dance or something, get Billups. And I know I had a little problem because a lot of them didn't like that. You know, it's not my class, so forth. But you know what, though, I have to remember. Doing that, after I met someone, she and I was too close. And I noticed the things that I was doing when I was young, she was doing it in her class. She was taking, dancing class and so forth. So, I was born July the 21st, 1936. When you figure it out. But I've always liked dancing. Like I said, I never went to school to dance, went to learn anything. But I did realize that I was doing a lot of things in school that I didn't know I was doing. So I was just dancing. I guess it was just in my blood, I guess.
Barbara was a basketball star.
Oh, there she goes. She tells everything.
A lot of people don't know that. Yes. She went home one year for a reunion, went back to Georgia, and lo and behold, they honored her. And she was so shocked because when she was playing basketball.
Don't do that. She's bringing tears to my eyes. No, she's correct. I did play basketball, and I didn't realize I was as good as they kept saying I was until they honored me. And that was about 8 years or so after I got out of school, right? Something like that. So, now you done told that. What else you gonna tell?
As far as tap dancing, I used to go to tap school, and my house was a haven for entertainers. My mother loves feeding them, she loved helping them, because she always loved show people. And they used to hang around my house, especially comedians and tap dancers. And we had a lot of friends, like Buster Brown, and y'all have heard of Buster Brown, tap dancer, right? But the act that he was in was called the Three Speed Kings, 3 guys out of Cleveland, Ohio. And they ran away from the mafia. The club where they worked, they didn't want them to leave, so they had to sneak out one night after the club closed. They had to sneak out of Cleveland, Ohio, because they wouldn't let them quit. They liked them, you know, and the mafia liked you. You don't go nowhere till they finish with you, you know. But they left one night and they had got a gig at the Apollo Theater, so they came to Harlem. And after they finished their gig, then they was kind of down on their luck looking for work and stuff. And they told my mother, they told them about my mother, you know. You need a meal, you go to Lady Esther's house. She lived right around the corner on 26th Street. And they told her where she lived and everything. So like I said, the comedians and Slappy White, Red Fox, they all hung out at my house. Red Fox became my godfather when I was like 9. And later on, he hired us at his club in California. But I was going to tap dancing, and when I come home, you know, the tap dancers said, let me see what you learned today. So I showed them my little step, you know, so proud when they be asking me. And then they say, well, hey, why don't you try doing it this way? And they showed me something, and I practice it till I get it, you know. So every year, my school had a concert, so all the parents could come and friends and see what we learned during the year, okay? So I was telling the guys, you know, about, hey, we got my concerts coming up, and the song my teacher gave me is so, and then she's gonna teach me the routine, you know? And I say, okay. So when I come back and come home and say, what song did you tell me it was? And I said, let me see what she taught you today. And I show them, you know, and they say, what about you try this to that rhythm? And they show me a little step, you know, and I learned it, you know, okay, all right. Next week, same thing, you know. Come the night of the concert, well, they all come to see my concert, you know. And it's time for me to do my number. Teacher standing in the wings, you know. She's watching all the students. And I'm dancing, and I look back at her, and she said, I do my number, do my bow, you know, and go off stage. She said, I loved your routine. You did? Whatever name of the song. She said, yes, and thank you. And I didn't know what she was going to say, you know. So that was fine. Next year, same thing happened. The third year, she says, Sugar, here's your song. I'm looking forward to seeing your routine. She never asked me who was teaching me or anything. But I graduated to the 18-year-olds class. Like when I was like maybe 10, I was dancing with the 18-year-olds, so that was a good thing, you know. And then finally, Buster Brown told my mother, said, take out of that school, spending your money for nothing. Because I'm dancing what the professionals are doing, you know. Every Saturday morning, make my movie money. I go to the record shop in my neighborhood, put my little tap shoes on. I asked the guy, I said, you mind if I come here on Saturdays and, you know, tap dance in front of your store? I gotta make my movie money. They said, no problem, that'll bring customers into the record shop, you know? So that's what I would do. Put on my little costume and change my shoes when I get there, put my little box down there, you know, and I make me a little money, go to movies Saturday afternoon. And that went on till like, maybe like 12, then it was getting kind of, you know, to me it wasn't cute anymore, you know. Yeah, it was getting boring, you know, so. But when I was 14, my boyfriend and I, we went to the movie, my first boyfriend. We went to the movie to see this movie they was talking about, you know, Hell's a Poppin', you know. Olsen and Johnson, well, we laughed at them, they were funny, and this was like their second movie. And we're sitting up there in the movie watching it, and all of a sudden, these black people come out, and they run, the music was playing, and they dressed in these waitress and waiters outfits and stuff in it. And I said, Ray, look what they're doing. We got to learn that. He said, what? I said, we have to learn that. Pay attention, watch. So we watched it there. He said, looks interesting. I don't know if we can do that. I said, you just watch. So we stayed in the movie to see it the second time. And you could stay in the movie, kids, then, if you were under 18, you had to go home when the matron went home, which was 6 p.m. So we stayed in there till 6 p.m., then I went home, rushing home, telling my mother about this dance that I saw. Didn't know the name of it or anything. And I said, Ray and I are gonna learn it. Mama, will you give us money to go until the movie leaves the theater? So she said, yeah, okay, all right, because we had to go, we went every day after school, Saturday and Sunday until the movies changed, you know, because then you could do that. You know, you could go to the movie and sit all day, but we had to go home when the matron went home. So we finally got some little steps together, and we go in Central Park and try to put something together, and we went to a teenage canteen in Harlem on 116th Street that Pepsi Cola Club put up. And every month we'd have a show, because we had all kind of talent in Pepsi Cola Club. And we put on a show once a month, because parents weren't allowed to come in. They could come to the door and ask for us, and somebody would come and get us, because it was strictly for teenagers. So you could go there up to 18 years old. So we gonna try this dance and see if they like it. So we did our little number to show, because I had been singing and doing a little tap number, you know. And I think Ray played trumpet or something, you know. But this night, we did our little dance routine where everybody loved it, because they hadn't seen it. What is that? I said, some dance routine we saw, you know. And we kept on with that for a while. And so now I'm like 14, and next year, I was 15, 1945, and there was a contest.
Will you ask me something, please?
Oh. I forgot she was here.
All right, so we've got a story getting started over here.
That's right.
Miss Sugar starts finding Lindy Hop. Miss Barbara, how did you start to come finding Lindy Hop?
Okay, but I wasn't young like she was.
Right.
I was an old lady. I had just finished high school. And my grandmother told me, she said, Barbara, you just finished high school. What do you want to do? That's what she said. She said, you have a scholarship to play basketball, or do you want to go to your mother's? Well, I know my grandmother had really raised me and my sister, and she did everything she could to make sure we didn't have to want for nothing. So I say, it's time to let her rest, you know, so I decided to go to my mother's. So after I got out of high school so forth, my mother lived in New York. So my sister, I had to wait a year, because my grandmother told me to wait for my sister, which I did. So once I waited for my sister, we decided to go to New York with my mother, where my mother was. So we came to New York. And my mother said, okay. She said, but Barbara, I know you like dancing, and I know a place I want you to go. I said, okay. So she said, I'm gonna get your cousin to take you. So I said, all right, but I wanna get a job first. She said, don't worry, you're gonna get a job. She said, but you can go there after, after you finish work, you can always go there. Okay, so I said, okay. It was quicker than I thought it was. I thought maybe a week or two, but it was the next day. It was on the Thursday. She said, your cousin Loretta's coming by to get you, so get dressed. I got dressed and everything, and I went to the Savoy. It's time for her to say something.
You sure? Well, I found the Savoy by entering it. I was in the Harvest Moon Ball, and I danced at Madison Square Garden, first Roseland, then Madison Square Garden, because I had won a contest in Central Park, and this lady said, oh my goodness, you two are good. You're good enough to be in the Harvest Moon Ball. And I said, what is that? And then she's telling me, it's a big contest they have every September in Madison Square Garden. I said, oh, that's good, Madison Square Garden. So I said, how I get in? She said, go down to the Daily News building on 42nd Street and sign up there. I said, okay. So I go down there and sign up and everything, and I entered this contest. Though they said you have to dance in the preliminaries. Where do you live? I said, we live in Harlem. They said, well, you missed the preliminaries for this year in Harlem, but you can go to Roseland Ballroom. Well, at that time, certain ballrooms were strictly white, okay? And Savoy was a mix. Anybody danced at the Savoy. So Ray said, you want to go to a white ballroom? I said, if we have to, we're going into this contest, we're going to win this thing, because we don't win in Central Park, we think we hot now, We know we got it, So I said, we go to Roseland. So we chanced it. I said, the only thing they tell us we can't dance. But we went down there, we signed up, and that night we showed up, and we danced in the contest. Nothing was said, We were the only black in the contest, and we came in second. But it was never recorded. I had people look it up, try to find it. It was never recorded. They just had our name in the paper, and these are the dancers from Roseland Ballroom that danced on such a night and going to Madison Square Garden. So that was that, And when I got to Madison Square Garden, and they had us rehearsing, you rehearse with the group that you came with. There's 3 ballrooms that was in the Harvest Moon Ball. Roseland Ballroom, Glen Island Casino, which was out in Long Island, and Savoy Ballroom. Savoy Ballroom was for people of color, any color you could dance at Savoy for the Harvest Moon Ball. And so we went down there, and when we saw Savoy Ballroom hit the floor, oh my God. I said, Ray, what are we doing here? We don't even belong here. Is that what we're doing? We are not doing it. They're doing it, but we're not doing it. And I said, we got to learn that, So
You want to ask something?
we got through the night.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have the footage from that night. We can show them the 1948.
Yeah.
Do that, do that.
All right. All right. So, Sugar Story leaves off right when the contest starts. So we'll do this right here. All right. So there's Sugar Sullivan and Norton Martini.
The guy that had the partner, he was an African dancer. And he was just twirling his head.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then we'll let it play through after this next time.
He did a split, I would do a split, you know, and we didn't know what the heck we was doing, you know, but we got through it for the night, you know, and then I said, I got to find out where these people are going. Okay, where these people are going with this.
So this is one of the Harlem Heats here.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yes, you just saw Barbara Skinner and Morris Rhodes throw a really high round back. They'll do it again in a second.
Yeah.
Here it comes again. Okay. So some of these names that they might mention, we have James Hayes, James Ronnie Hayes.
Ronald Hayes, right. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
You're going to see Candy Carter and his partner in a second.
Okay, all right.
There's Ronnie Hayes. Now notice he's blindfolded. Ronnie Hayes is blindfolded.
And didn't make a mistake. And got disqualified.
So you also saw Candy Carter and Doris Rhodes.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, I said I gotta go to Savoy, so I'm going up to the Savoy. And I get to the door, and the bouncer said, where you going? Where's your mother? I said, my mother's home. I looked like I was like 12. I got on socks and no makeup, you know.
And a hair and a ponytail.
Of course. I said, I can't go upstairs. Isn't this a Savoy Ballroom? I'm standing outside looking, you know. He said, yes, but you're not old enough. Where's your mother? I said, what do I have to be? He said, you have to be 18. I said, okay, I'll come back. So I did. I went back. When I was 18, with my birth certificate in my hand, and we went through the same routine, you know, where you going to go? I said, I'm 18. Excuse me, let me see. He said, okay, pay your admission and go on upstairs. And that's how I went to the Savoy Ballroom. Okay, yeah.
All right. Miss Barbara, do you want to take us the next step? So you get to the Savoy Ballroom the first time.
Okay. When I first went to the Savoy, and I went inside the building, and I went up the stairs, that was the most biggest place I had ever seen in my life. It was probably a block long and a block wide. I said, where am I? What kind of dancing they have in here? Well, my cousin that took me there earlier so I could see the place, you know. She wanted me to see the place. And they did let us in, so, you know, she said, I have a new friend here and I want to show her the place. So they did do that. They let me in, you know, just before dance started. So we came out. And then we went back after we had something to eat. I hadn't seen so many people before in my life. I want to know where all those people came from. And they was people of different nationality too. And I said, what in the devil is this? She said, this is where you gonna dance. And the band was playing now. And I saw people, I didn't know who they are. I saw this one, and I didn't know who she were. And I saw a lot of other people, but I didn't know who they were, because that was the first time me going. So that day, I went to the Savoy. I wouldn't dance because I was afraid I didn't know what I was doing and the dancing they was doing. But I was doing the same dancing, but I didn't know what it was. And, you know, they was doing the same dancing. And so I didn't bother with that. I said, I'm leaving that alone. But every time I went to the Savoy, and they, like we would tell you later about how the circle and everything, I would get on the side and try to dance and do those steps by myself. I really was. I tried it by myself. I was afraid to ask a man to dance, a man asked me to dance. I was afraid to get in their way because I figured I wasn't able, I didn't know what I had to do. I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I ain't going no further.
And that was like maybe 1952, maybe?
Something like that.
Yeah, and I had been there since 48, you know. And so I had been through a couple of partners already, trying to find the one to give me that first prize. Because when you win first prize in either one of the categories, you sign contracts that night as part of your prizes to perform in do professional entertainment at clubs and theaters in New York, or sometime we even went to Canada, had contracts for Canada, you know. So you signed contracts that night, and after that you were considered a professional entertainer. Yeah, so you could enter in any other category, but not which one that you won first place. Because they had rumba, tango, foxtrot, polka, and Lindy Hop. Well, Lindy Hop upset the Madison Square Garden. That was the last contest. They held that for last. And when they pronounced that, oh, everybody stands up in Madison Square Garden, and they applauding and hollering and screaming. And we come out and we march. The dance floor is like a boxing ring, a square, but the ropes are not there. And what we do is we march around that square, you know, and they play Shine On Harvest Moon, and then you go to your appointed seats where they had given you. And then they call each group to dance, you know, for the contest. So each one, the music is different, you know, because in the afternoon when you're practicing, you choose your tempo. The group that you're dancing with, you choose your tempo, and that's the tempo you have to dance to, you know. So when I saw it in practice, I said, I want to dance with the people that's dancing fast. And God knows I'm so glad they didn't let me, because I wouldn't have been able to do it. You know, I didn't know anything about it, really, that I thought I did, you know. So, I kept going to Savoy every night, dancing, maybe from 10 to 3 in the morning. And in the afternoon, they told me, you know, you come up in the afternoon, they'll show you how to do different steps. You know, I said, oh, okay. There was no class, no workshops. You know, you get up there and you might ask somebody, you see somebody dancing, and you say, could you show me what you're doing, you know? And they'll show you, no problem. They show you a couple of times, and they go over and talk to somebody else and help somebody else, you know, and then you keep trying, and they look over and see you. No, that's not right. No, it goes this way, you know. And that's what would go on in the afternoons. It would be maybe from 11 to 2. And then you go home, and you get ready for the night, and you come back, and maybe from say 10 to 3 in the morning, we dance. And the music was continuous. The bandstand accommodated 2 full orchestras at the same time. The band would play, and when they want a break, the second band would come on and pick up that song along with the first band, play it in their same rendition, the way they play it, and then that first band would just leave the stage and take their break. And that's the way it went all night long. So the music never stopped until closing. Yeah.
Now tell them how you won the Harvest Moon. Oh, I'm sorry. Perfect.
Miss Sugar, tell us how you won the Harvest Moon.
You're always taking other people's jobs. Well, okay. So I kept trying dancing with these different guys each year, you know. And I was dancing with Big Nick in 1951. And everybody said this was our year. That's what we do. You know, we watching everybody rehearse and everything, and among ourselves we say who we think is gonna win this year, you know. So they said it was our year. This is your year, you and Nick, boy. So that night we practicing. I said we run through the routine one more time for the night, because my husband had come to pick me up. He didn't Lindy Hop, so he came to pick me up to go home. I would go to the dances by myself. And then at night he would, maybe an hour before closing, he would come and pick me up, and he danced. He liked slow dances, and he would dance a couple of dances. He was very good. We did something we call ballroom in Savoy, and the girls all loved to dance with us.
Oh, I love dancing with him, especially in the ballroom.
And they did certain lifts, and you know, in the ballroom. And then we'd leave at closing. So we there running through our routine for the last time. Lo and behold, I hit the floor. The blood was squirting. I had cut over my eye, and I kind of fractured my arm, and I said, oh Lord have mercy. I'm not dancing no more. This is it. This is the end of it, you know. So my husband took me, we went to emergency. And we finished at that murder. I had a couple of stitches up there, and they had wrapped my arm and put it in a sling. And we had to find a garage that was open to cut off my wedding bands, because they had bent up when I hit the floor, you know. So I'm home brooding now, man. You know, I can't dance, can't go to Savoy, I don't know what to do with myself. And my husband said, why did you say you're not gonna dance no more? I said, because you don't want me to dance in the first place, but you couldn't win. You know, you couldn't stop me, because when you met me, I was dancing. But now, you got a case, you got a good case. I haven't hurt myself now, so, you know, I guess I have to stay home, you know. And he said, what about if I dance with you? I said, you? I laughed in his face. I said, not you, not Lindy Hop, not Mr. Sullivan. He said, I could do that dance. I said, no, you can't. I can learn it. I said, but it's only 3 weeks to finals, to Madison Square Garden, you know, because I had already went through preliminaries. He said, I can do it. I said, we'll see. So I started going back up to Savoy in the afternoon, and we were trying, you know. I'm trying to tell him this and showing him that, and the guys was laughing at him because they didn't think he could do it, you know. But they saw he was serious, so they started helping him and showing him things that I couldn't show him, you know, that the guys had to show him, you know. And lo and behold, we made it. That was 1948, yeah. That was 1948, yeah. So we made it, and that was 51, I mean. So we kept dancing. Next year, we won third. Then we won second. Then we tied the next year for third, and we didn't get it. In 1955, we won first place, the Harvest Moon Ball.
Let's watch it. Here we got some 1955 Harvest Moon Ball, the year that Sugar and George Sullivan took it all. Some of the footage is run fast, and so I try to do things to slow it down to make it a little bit more obvious to see that kind of stuff. So there's Sugar and George in the middle there. That's George carrying Sugar.
I designed and made the costumes.
Yes, yes. In fact, Miss Sugar became renowned for her Harvest Moon Ball costumes. So you would get deductions if your costume was ripped or torn, and you can imagine they're putting it through a lot, right? They're putting these costumes through a lot. And one of my favorite Sugar stories is they would come up to you and ask if you had any safety pins, and you would say, no, I don't. one more time. So yeah, there they are one more time. Let's go ahead and show the, we'll go ahead and show the...
But you can find the routine on YouTube. If you put in Sugar Sullivan, it should come up and they'll show you the performance we did at Ed Sullivan. It's only 36 seconds of it. And we had to dance 3 full minutes. Our routine, so we had to cut it down to fit into 36 seconds.
Let's get it. Let's watch it. Here we go.
They slowed it down too. The Latin Quarter, which was downtown on Fifth Avenue in New York, and that's at Radio City. There was a couple other things I can't remember. Those are the only ones I really remember. Plus, we got a check, and I got an armful of red roses. Yeah, so it was a beautiful night. It really was. Yeah.
Now, can I say something?
Go ahead.
Please.
I want to tell them what I did.
Oh, you did something?
I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh, I know. How I got to the Harvest Moon Board. I never wanted to be in a contest. I just like dancing. I like watching other people, and I like helping other people if I could. Well, this particular time that they was doing 1958, right?
Right.
They was doing the Harvest Moon Ball. I had no intention of going into the Harvest Moon Ball. And all of a sudden, her husband and one or two of them came to me and said, Barbara, you got to dance with Willie Posner. I said, oh. They said, he need a partner. Now, what happened to his partner? I really don't know.
He had passed the preliminaries. But
Yeah, oh, yes,
We
he
don't
had
know
passed.
what happened to his partner. She didn't come up anymore after that.
So I said, but you only have 2 weeks. I can't learn stuff like that in 2 weeks. They said, yes, you can. That's why I keep telling y'all, stop saying I can't. They said, yes, you can. They took me, this lady, her husband, Charlotte Thacker, and 2 or 3 other men, took me for a week, and I was working and going to the Savoy. And every time I did that, I can't get in there fast enough for she holler, put your shoes on, put your shoes on. I said, let me get in the door first. But I had no intention of entering into the Harvest Moon Ball. But how happened? I said, you gonna make me a costume? And she said, it's too late, I ain't got time. She said, but you can find something. And she helped me find something to wear, you know, for the Harvest Moon Ball. I knew that she wouldn't be able to make nothing like that when she was making Son Alley and his partner too. So I knew that, but I just wanted to get back at her because she's always on me. So what happened, they drilled me, and we went to Madison Square Garden. I was the most nervous person you had ever seen in your life. I was shaking and everything. they had all of the other people. And you know, before we go on like that, they have the white dancers too doing Lindy. They goes on first. And then we go on. I was standing back there waiting and they was calling the name and the number was gonna be next. And I'm sitting, she said, get up. You go up there, get up. I said, go up. She said, get up. They calling you. I said, oh. So I got up, the music was playing. And once my feet hit the floor, I don't remember nothing else. I was just dancing and dancing and dancing, and whatever Willie Poser was doing, flipping me and so forth, I was going. I was doing everything. And once we came off, you know, you come off and then they would tell who won first place, who won second place. And they called Sonny Allen, and I can't think of the girl's name right now. It's first place. Then I think it was Joy Davis.
Marcella something.
Marcella, yeah.
Her first name was Marcella.
Marcella.
Yeah.
Then Joyce Davis, right?
Right. And his
Joyce
sister.
Davis and his sister.
And 1 second.
1 second. And I ain't thinking about nothing else. They said, Willie Poser and Barbara Billups. And she would say, if you don't get your... Because I wasn't thinking they was calling me. My mind, I didn't hear nothing.
Because when they call your number, you know, they jump up, you know.
That's right.
They get up there before they can really say your name. They call number so-and-so, the one third place, and they up on the stage, you know. And she's sitting there, you know, clapping for the ones that had already been called, you know, yeah.
And once I got on the stage, I couldn't believe I had won third place.
Yeah. To get third place, your first year training for it, very, very, very rare.
And after then, like Sugar said, I didn't win first place, but I turned professional. I started dancing shows and things after that. And once you do that, you cannot participate anymore.
Sonny Allen won first place, first time out at Madison Square Garden in the Harvest Moon Ball. And so he said, I always had a dream of putting a dance review together. He says, and now that I won the Harvest Moon Ball, I want 8 girls.
Let me tell this first, Sugar.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Before this, Sonny had asked Sugar to dance one night. And she said no. And he said, why? She said, because you can't dance. So he said, one day, you're going to be dancing for me. And she said, in your dreams.
Tell it.
Now you can tell the rest.
When Sonny won the Harvest Moon Ball, he asked Barbara and I to help him get 8 of the girls out of Savoy, the dancers, you know. And I said, well, what are we going to do? He says, we're going to travel the world and entertain. He said, I want a band and 8 girls. He says, and we're going to entertain all over the world. I said, sounds good to me. So Barbara and I talked to all the girls. We got him 8 girls. And we rehearsed for like 8 months, 10 hours a day, at least. And he taught us Latin, modern jazz. We did tap. And we closed our act, and African dancing, and we closed our act with Lindy Hop. And my partner was a girl, which was a novelty then. Because girls didn't dance together, guys didn't dance together, you know. And I was the flyer, so she threw me. You know, we did aerials. And he said, we have to be able to do an hour show. So that's what we did. We had a 5-piece band, and we would open the show he would sing a song. And then later, not too long, he got us a voice teacher. And we all sang to open the show. And we were called Sunny Allen and the Rockets. And we toured Canada. Oh boy, they knew us at the border. Oh yes, every time we got to the border, where the Rockets gonna be, you know? And the security, they would all come to see the show. They would come more than once to see the show, wherever we were appearing. And we never did one-nighters away from home. We would go into a club maybe for 2 weeks. It ended up being a month, 3 months. We went to a club in Toronto, and we were there for 6 months. We asked the lady, could we have some time off? But some of us had kids. Christmas comes, they close on the day before Christmas, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas. So we said, well, all of us don't want to go, just a couple of the ladies, they have kids, you know, with myself and my partner and one other girl had kids. And she said, if you leave, you can't come back. And then some of the clientele told us, said, oh, the last black group she had here, she kept for 14 years. We said, hell no. We are out of here. We gave her 6 months, and then we quit. We discussed it, and we decided, no, we want to go home. Even Sonny was sick of the place. You know, he said, I can't change the show any more than I, you know, already have it. And I couldn't come up with no new costumes. It was just, you just got bored. The place was packed, you know. It stayed packed. You know, the audience was great. But we just got tired of being there. You know, we wanted to go home. So we just quit. But it ended up being, it was a great gig though. Yeah.
So I know we have only a few minutes left. First off, I wanted to say, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find footage of the 1948 Harvest Moon Ball that Miss Barbara was in, which is why, unfortunately, I can't show you that dancing. 58, sorry, 58, the 1958. But before we take it over to some questions, I would love for Miss Barbara to talk about the first time you met Sugar.
Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. After I had went in the Savoy, and one night, they was all had a circle, and everybody in there was dancing. And that was before the Harvest Moon Ball and everything. I'm on the side trying to learn what they was doing with their feet and so forth, you know. So, one night, this man, George Sullivan, came and grabbed me and pulled me in there. I said, I ain't going in there. He said, yes, you are. I said, but I don't know the dance. He said, do what I've been seeing you do here every night on the outside. He wouldn't let my hand go. Next thing I knew, I was in this circle and I was dancing. I didn't know what the H I was doing, but I was dancing, and I was dancing with my eyes closed. Because I don't want to see no man look at me as if to say I shouldn't have took her hand. So I had my eyes closed, and every time I opened my eyes, there was a different man dancing with me. So after then, I figured I knew something then about the dance. So I went home, and the next night I came to the Savoy. Before I can open the door, somebody was standing there. Come in. Do you know who you were dancing with last night? I said, no, that's my husband. I said, oh. I just knew I had a problem. She said, come in. Let me show you what he was trying to show you yesterday. And from that day to this one, she and I have been just like this.
People say, is that your sister? We're in the airport. I said, yes. It's my sister. I call her my life sister. Because I moved to Connecticut. Now I'm in Florida. She's still in New York. And we talk 3-4 times every day. Every day, yeah.
Best friends forever.
Oh yes, that's what Lindy gets you, friends. Friends forever, you know. Just like I met Doc Jones.
That's right.
You know?
And Doc,
Yeah,
same way.
and we talk like that, same thing, you know. And like people I have, like drivers like Deborah, here and different places I have drivers. We stay in contact through the year. You know, that, oh, I can't wait till you come in such a month. You know, you
Don't
just,
forget Julian now.
you keep friends.
That-
You just, you
that
really,
warmed
you
me
really
to
do.
death.
Lindy Hop gives you lifelong friends. It really does. My daughter said Lindy Hop is another word for love.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, I think we can take a few questions for about 5 minutes. We have a mic over here for questions. Or yeah. I think this is the mic for questions. Is that cool? Oh, great. Do we have any questions? Here we go.
I also got told to ask this tomorrow. So, Miss Barbara,
Yes.
were there ever any debutantes at the Savoy? Miss Sugar, were there debutantes?
Well, Savoy didn't, we went there for dancing. Debutantes and stuff like in church or in the school and things like that. They had that. But it wasn't in the Savoy. We dancing, boy.
But there was nights that they rented out the Savoy to private organizations.
That's true.
And they
That's
gave dances and things, so they probably had them there, you know. They call them cotillions.
Yeah, there you go.
And they probably had them there, and they would, Mr. Buchanan, he told you last night that he was the manager. Mr. Buchanan would say, he would talk to us, you know, you come see us in the afternoon up there practicing. And he said, you know, Thursday night, we're opening the Savoy to such an organization, and I need about 4 couples to perform. And he would say, well, you know, Sugar, you and your husband, are you up for it? And I'm paying so and so and so. And Barbara, are you up for it? I'm paying so and so. And we would do the show for them that night. Yeah, that's what they used to do for private organizations.
You okay with that answer? Okay. Oh, look like that's Julia.
Please, okay. So my question is, how do you feel celebrating the Savoy 100? So we just got finished celebrating the Savoy 100. Can you share with us what it felt like celebrating?
Savoy 100. How many of y'all knew when that happened, Savoy 100?
Okay.
That was,
March. In March.
I don't know how to explain. I really can't explain it.
It was great.
It was more than great.
Okay?
as I'm concerned.
Because we didn't expect the way it turned out,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Plus, she didn't tell us, Miss Julia Loving did not tell us that we were going to be honored that night.
And boy, she did it.
We had got certificates from the city government,
Right.
from a congresswoman
Yes.
presented us with this great big, it's on my wall, you know, and then there's a smaller certificate. So we did not expect that. And
And a
it was
shirt.
beautiful. And she had t-shirts made
That's right.
that had like a plaque in the front says Savoy 100 with the names on it and everything. And it was a beautiful night. It was a dinner dance. And it was a weekend, but that Saturday night was the dinner dance. And oh my gosh, it was so great. Orly and her husband came.
Yes.
And there
Yes.
was other people that were there that we that hires us to come to their venues through the year, and it was just great. It really was great. She brought tears to our eyes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
And her and her organization did a beautiful job. It was beautiful to honor the Savoy 100. Oh, there's a hand way up there.
There's a hand way up there. Okay, do you mind shouting your question?
Were you part of the 400 Club, and what was that like?
Were you a part of the 400 Club?
Yes, we were. That was he was telling you about. We had the jackets, the green and gold jackets with our name in the front, and it said Savoy 100, 400 on the back. Like we had ID cards, gold cards with black lettering, and our photo was on it, and that's what got us into Savoy for free. You know, we just showed that when we came in, you know, every night. And we were part of Savoy 400, yes.
I have something I want to say. Y'all can tell me to shut up whenever you want to. I ain't gonna hurt you till I'm finished. I want to say something that really, really got next to her and next to me. Y'all seen a jacket that we wears a lot with a lot of dances and things on it? Can you guess who made that jacket? Yes.
And
Yes.
it was a beautiful, beautiful
That
job.
is everywhere we go, they want to know about that jacket. So thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
a couple of years back, he sent me a book about so big. It has every Harvest Moon Ball winner in the book.
Yes, yes.
Let's see, but he's done a couple of things, you know, this one here. And I love his research. He does beautiful research. Yes,
Yes.
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 You make us proud.
Yes.
Well, it's an honor. All right, let's try to get these two more questions.
Hello, ladies.
No, you don't.
Okay, I know you had an illustrious career on the road, and I wonder if you had any favorite stories from the road doing gigs.
We were at Baby Grand in Boston, Massachusetts. And we happened to be, the star of the show was Red Fox, the comedian. Okay? And like the second night, club is packed, you know, we do our show, we open the show, you know, as dancers, and Red Fox, he came out and then they announced him, he came out and he started his act. Well, there's a couple, had a table close to the stage, you know, right down front, you know, and he starts his act, and this woman starts throwing, you know, insinuations at him and stuff, you know, and he's throwing back at her, you know, and he says, I don't interrupt you when you got your mattress down on the corner, you know, stuff like that, you know, and the people's cracking up, and then the boyfriend is turning red, you know, he's not liking what Red is saying to him, to her, but he don't care what she says to Red. And they back and forth, well, it really got to him. And he got very angry. A little bitty peep squeak of a little looking guy. He gets up from the table, walks to the stage, and Red is just raving on, and people are, and this chick, they get back and forth, because he tried to shut up, and she wouldn't. She's half tank, you know, and she would, you know, and he went up on the stage after Red Fox. And Red kept backing up on the stage. If someone comes after you or an entertainer on the stage and they get hit that halfway mark, they go past that halfway mark, you're entitled to do whatever you want to them. Red only hit him once. Red said, bam, he hit the floor, boom, 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 boom. And the people was cracking up. Lo and behold, he's mafioso.
Oh.
Well, he was very pissed, of course. And he starts to rave and, I'm gonna kill you, and you can't come out this club. I'm gonna blow your brains out, you so and so and so. And so the manager comes, you know, the owner comes, everybody, and security comes, and they take him out, you know, and so the show is over and everything, we finish for the night. Now, everybody's scared for us to go out, leave the club. Scared for Red to leave the club. We said, don't worry about it, we got it. 4 girls in Sunny Island. We got it, you know? I mean, we were angry, you know, so we didn't care. You know, these 4 girls from Harlem and Sunny Island. We're gonna take Red Fox out. Guard him up against a mafioso, right? We go outside and he's across the street and he's raving and carrying on and he got a gun and so forth and so on and blah, blah, blah. The cops is out there and everything. So we get in, we take Red and get in our car and we go to the hotel where he's staying. We move him out of the hotel. We had an apartment. So we move him to our apartment. We got 2 weeks. This is a 2-week gig. We got 2 weeks to go. And this is like the second night, okay? So we take him to our hotel. Every night, this guy did something. But Red Fox, when we got to the hotel, he called Chicago. And they sit down the word, Red Fox is not to be touched. Okay? Because he was their court jester, they call him. He used to perform for the mafia. So they protected him. And he stayed with us at the apartment. And every night it's a party with Red Fox. He does not sleep. Oh my God, he's cracking jokes all night. Well, first in the afternoon, he goes shopping. And he buys all this meat and stuff and alcohol and treats and you know, all kind of stuff, you know. And we get back to every night we get back to the hotel. We have to sneak away from him to get some sleep. We would do it one at a time. And then when he missed you, oh, Sonny, where's Sugar? Oh, where's Barbara? Let's go find Sugar. And then they wake you up and then you come back out. Oh, my God. This 2 weeks, we were so glad to put him on that plane. But he had promised us. He said, I'm bringing you to Red Fox. That was the name of his club on La Cienega and LA. He said, I'm bringing you to California and y'all ain't coming back to New York. Y'all ain't living back in New York. He brought us there to his club. He sent us plane tickets. Had the chauffeur waiting for us at the airport when we were supposed to land. We took buses. We got on the Greyhound bus because we wanted to go cross country. We wanted to see cross country on the bus. So instead of getting there on Sunday night that he expected us, we got there Wednesday morning. But we sent him a telegram. We were at Greyhound bus station, such and such a street, they told us. And our white limo was there with our driver that we had the whole time we was in LA. He had booked our hotels and everything. 4 girls and 3 girls in Sunny Island. And we were in his club for 3 months. That's when he made Norma Miller a comedian. She was the star of the show. We were the dancers. She was the star of the show, and I think there was a singer, somebody sing. I don't remember who that was. But Red Fox was not there. He was there opening night, but he did not perform.
Right.
He turned it over to her, and he made her a comedian. And then he went to Vegas to his gig. And that's where we were at his club for 3 months. And they assassinated Martin Luther King. And that's what killed our gig. We were doing so great. The stars were bringing groups to see our show, because we're right there in Hollywood, you know. We had a big crowd every night. It was doing so great for 3 months. And then when they assassinated Martin Luther King, everything stopped because people were afraid to go on the street. You couldn't buy gas. You couldn't go to the gas station and get a can of gas. They had police stations at all the gas stations because they were afraid they would burn down LA, you know, because there was rioting and everything, you know. And we closed for 2 nights, and then we opened back up for a whole month. We were entertaining the waiter and waitresses. I mean, we had no clientele. But Red Fox paid us our salary every week. It was sent from Las Vegas.
Okay, time is up.
Okay, Peter?
Everyone give a giant round of applause for Miss Sugar Sullivan and Miss Barbara Billups. You see her shirt. Harlem. Check out her shirt. Sugar Sullivan and Barbara Billups are on their shirts. If you had a question for them that we didn't get to, guess what? You can ask them when you see them at the dance.
Anytime.
Hopefully.
Not tomorrow, Miss Barbara, not tomorrow, right?
That's right. All right, everyone. If you don't mind, please helping them get the chairs up as you leave. That would help clear things out really quickly. And thank you again for coming.
Steady.